I don't know about you guys, but since Tim the Tatman and Dr. Lupo have moved over to YouTube, I've been watching a ton more of their streams lately. And while watching Tim and Lupo stream, it got me thinking, I've never remade a YouTube streamer design before. So I decided to change that. Today, I set myself the challenge of recreating two really cool elements from both Tim the Tatman and Dr. Lupo's stream design. And in this video, I'm focusing on Dr. Lupo's social media graphic that he has on his streams. You know, this one. It's clean, it's simple, and it's really easy to make. So let's make it. I personally am a huge fan of things like this on a live stream. Nothing big, nothing fancy, just something really small, clean, and simple. I think it adds a lot of production value to your streams, and it really doesn't take a lot to make something like this. And so today I'm going to show you guys how you can make something similar by using the built-in tools and some free plugins for Adobe After Effects. And you know how I mentioned earlier on in the video that I said I would be making something from Tim the Tatman's stream as well? Well, I already made it. It's actually on my own personal YouTube channel. I recreated Tim the Tatman's full screen donation alert that he uses on his stream. And if you don't know what that looks like, it looks like this. Pretty cool, huh? If you guys want to check out that video and see how you can make something like that, I've left a link to that video down below in the description. And while you're over there, go ahead and subscribe to my own personal channel. I'd greatly appreciate that. But with that said and done, let's go ahead and jump on over to After Effects and get started. So here I am inside of Adobe After Effects. And the first thing that we are going to do is create a brand new composition by clicking on the new composition button right here. Kind of obvious when you think about it. But anyway, I'm going to click on that and I get greeted with this little window right here. Make sure it's 1920 by 1080p at 60 frames per second with a duration around 15 seconds. It doesn't need to be that long because we're going to make it loop. I'm going to rename this to be our text layer. So our text composition that we're going to use to create our really cool rotating metric. I'm going to click OK. And the next thing I want to do is start building up our text elements. And to do that, we're going to click on the text tool. I'm going to type out Dr. Lupo like that. I'm going to center it up into the middle of the screen like that, and I press S on the keyboard to bring up the scale parameters down here. I'm going to scale it just a little bit to make it just a little bit bigger so you guys can see that. Now, to create that rotating graphic that Dr. Lupo has on his stream, we need to do a couple of different things first. And the first thing we need to do is we need to create multiple copies of our text layer that we can use to throw into that rotational graphic. Now, the way to do that, we're going to have to hack a couple of different things together, but the effect looks exactly the same. So the first thing we're going to do is going to press R on the keyboard and go to our rotation. We're going to rotate the text 90 degrees. You can actually click in this field here and type in 90. And that is where we have our first text layer. I'm going to scale this up so the edges, the top and bottom of the text here is meeting the top and bottom of the composition. Now I want to make sure this is centered to the composition and aligned to the right hand side. And to do that, I go over here to the align panel. If you don't see this panel, go to the window options right here and then click on align. And what that will do is it will bring up the panel right here that you can use to do all the things that I'm doing. So we're going to click on the right align button right here and the center align button and make sure the composition is selected in this little drop down layer here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate this layer multiple times. I'm going to press Command or Control D on the keyboard, and I'm going to drag it out, make another copy, drag it out, make another copy, drag it out, and then make a final copy, and then move it all the way to the edge. Don't worry about the spacing right now. We're going to fix that in just a second. And the same thing with this copy right here. We're going to make sure that it's aligned on the left-hand side this time, and it's aligned to this left edge right here. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to select all of these layers down here, and I'm going to select this button here, which is distribute horizontally. And what that will do is that will create some nice distribution between all the layers so we don't have some uneven spacing. And then from here, the next thing we need to do is create that cylindrical look that's on the original graphic. If you look at the original graphic on Dr. Lupo's stream, you'll see when it rotates, there's some little bit of distortion around the edges as it's going around in a circle. And that's exactly what we're going to do on our version as well, and pretty much using one single plugin inside of After Effects. And the way to do this is going to create a brand new adjustment layer. We're going to layer, new adjustment layer, and then in the effects and presets panel over here, I'm going to type in CC cylinder, and I'm going to press enter, and it will apply the CC cylinder effect to our project. And as you can see right now, It's kind of doing it, but also kind of not doing it at the same time. So what I need to do is actually change the rotation of this. We click on the rotation tab here. We can change the rotation of this to be, let's say, -90, like so. And what that will do is if we rotate it on the y-axis, you'll see it creates the look that we're going for. It's exactly the kind of thing that we're after. We can also adjust the radius to make it a bit larger or a bit smaller. I actually think it looks better a little bit larger. It kind of matches the distortion on the original Lupo graphic. And we can rotate this indefinitely for as long as we want. But you may notice we're seeing the copies on the other side. We can kind of see the reverse of the graphic through the gaps here. And the way to easily fix that is creating a brand new solid. So we're going to create a new solid. Make sure it's a black solid. I'm going to call this one background. I'm going to click OK. Bring it all the way to the bottom. And now, as you can see, as we do that, it hides those layers behind. And as we rotate it, it creates an effect that is very similar, in fact, identical to the one that Dr. Lupo has. And now you are pretty much done with this one. What we need to do now is reset the rotation on the y-axis. We're going to add a keyframe here, and then we're going to go all the way to the very end of our project here, the 15 seconds. And then we're just going to click on the 0 here that's next to the X, and click on that and then press 1 on the keyboard. Now what that will do is that will do one full rotation on the y-axis. So it will go through all of the revolutions of the Dr. Lupo text, and it will loop. As soon as it gets to the end of the project, it will restart that animation, and it'll be a seamless loop all the way around. Now that we have that done, there's one thing we need to fix. Right now, it's not a transparent video file. You'll see we have this black background that kind of wraps around. If we export this, we're going to have this black kind of box around our text, and we don't exactly want that. So what I'm going to do is on the same cylinder effect right here, I'm going to go over here and I'm going to add in a plugin that you can download for free, and I'll leave a link to it down below in the description. And the plugin's called VC Color Vibrance. And if we drag that on and add it to our adjustment layer, you may see some cool things happening here. So it's kind of doing two things at once here. It's adding a color overlay to our project, and you can turn that off if you want to by taking the vibrancy slider down. But if you want to add a little bit of color to your project, you can easily do that by adding in just a little bit of blue or a little bit of red. So you say, let me do some Dr. Lupo purple right here, like that. That looks really cool. But the main thing we want to do here is under the matte alpha right here. You want to click on that, change it from off to on. And what that will do is it will get rid of the black box that surrounds our text, but it will basically keep the transparency look that we're after, where we're not seeing the text behind our effect like that. But for now, I think I'm going to keep the text white and just increase the brightness just a little bit to hide any of the shading that's occurring from the cylinder effect. So now we have a pure white text like that. That rotates all the way around like so. And then the final thing we need to do is add in our social media icons as well. And the way we do that is very simply by duplicating our original composition and then renaming this to be social icons like so. We can double click onto this, turn off our cylinder effects, and then what we can do is just line up the social media icons right where the Dr. Lupo texts are, and it will line up perfectly. So I have all of the logos here inside of my project panel. I'm going to drag these in, scale them down, and do exactly the same thing that I did with the Lupo text. I'm going to rotate them 90 degrees, and I'm just going to line it up with the middle of the text for now. Maybe scale it down just a little bit more. And then we're going to make sure all of these layers are underneath our cylinder effect. We're going to turn off all of our text layers, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to center them up so they're aligned centrally within the middle of the project here. So under composition, align layers to composition. I'm going to select align vertically, and I'll bring it down so they're all within the same line. And now when we turn on the cylinder effect, you can see a rotation happens all at the same time, like that. Now on his original one, they rotate in the opposite direction. So instead of rotating this way, we're going to press U on the cylinder effect to bring up the animation keyframes. On the rotation Y keyframe right here, I'm going to change that and make it -1 instead of +1. And what that will do is that will rotate in the opposite direction to the Dr. Lupo text. So bringing this all together, we'll make a new composition. We'll call this one Final Comp. Bring it all in. We'll drag in the social media icons, drag in our text like so, scale them both down together. That is how Dr. Lupo's rotating social media callout widget works on his stream. Now, that's all fine and good, but we can do a little bit extra here to really make this shine. What we're going to do is actually add in one extra thing that Dr. Lupo has on his stream, and that is the small heartbeat monitor animation that he has on the top of his webcam. So I'm going to create a brand new composition for this. I'm going to click on this little icon down here, and I'm going to go into here and I'll call this one heartbeat. I'm going to keep all the same parameters as before. I'm going to click OK. And right now, I'm going to create a brand new solid, like so. I'm going to name this one heartbeat. I'm going to zoom out just a little bit. And I'm going to click on the little pen tool at the top here. I'm going to click on this, and I'm going to go off the center here, just off the edge of the composition frame. I'm going to click, hold down the shift key, and I'm going to click all the way to the end, all the way off screen. We want this to be completely invisible once it passes the edge of the frame here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to click in the middle, and you'll see the little plus buttons show up right there. I can click and add a point. I can then click and add another point, and then add another point, and then add another point. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to click and I'm going to drag and move this one up, move this one down. And what that will do is that will create the little zigzag line that we see on DrLupo's heartbeat sensor, heartbeat monitor that he has on his stream. And then from here, we're going to add a brand new plugin. This one is also free, and I'll leave this one down below in the description. This one's called Saber, and it's also from Video Copilot. If I double click this and add it to the project or to the layer, you may notice why it's called Saber. What we're going to do is we're going to use this to create the heartbeat effect that he uses on his stream. So under the customize core options right here, we're going to leave everything else the same for now. Under customize core, we're going to click on here. Go to core type. We're going to change that to layer masks. And what will that do? That will create a nice glowing saber effect for that heartbeat in the middle. We'll then change the core size and increase the core width a bit. Maybe the glow bias, bring that down just a little bit. Glow intensity we can bring down as well. Maybe change the color to a nice red like he has on his stream. And then what we're going to do, we're going to adjust the settings here under customize core. We're going to adjust the start offset and the end offset. I'm going to increase the start offset and decrease the end offset. And what that will do is that will make the line much shorter. What I also want to do is affect the end position here, or at least the start position right here. And I want to go to the start size and bring that all the way down to about 5%. We don't need to be completely zero, but about 5% will do. And as you can see here, it's starting to look like that trail line effect that he has for the heartbeat sensor. Now to animate this, we're going to adjust the mask evolution. We're going to click a keyframe right at the start of the project here. And I'm going to offset the rotation of this evolution just a little bit. So it's off the edge of the screen. And then we're going to go all the way to the end. And then I'm going to take it all the way back again. Off screen. And now if we play this back, you'll see it goes through and bing, it'll go up, go down, and it will continue on its journey all the way through. We can increase the time by adjusting the speed of the keyframe, maybe just a little bit quicker. Maybe we'll make it really quick. Let's say 4 seconds. We'll make it really quick. That looks pretty spot on to the one that DrLupo has on his stream. And very simply, all you need to do to create a different colored version is you need to duplicate the layer, offset the timing, and then change the color to be a nice blue or a nice purple like that. And then we're going to make a brand new adjustment layer. We're going to layer, adjustment layer. And then we're going to go in and add that VC color vibrance effect that we had earlier to this one. And it's going to add the green to take the vibrancy slider all the way down to 0. And under matte alpha, change it from off to on. And what that will do is it'll make it completely transparent so that when you play it back, you can have your webcam or any other element on your stream have this above that, and it'll be completely transparent and have it showing what's underneath. And the final product looks something like this. And I think it looks pretty darn cool. Looks really simple, looks really clean, and adds a real level of production value to your stream. And once again, guys, if you want more videos like this, then go ahead and check out my own personal YouTube channel linked down below. And if you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a like and subscribe to the channel. And until next time, happy streaming.